I didn't know if we just thought, hey, it's Spillane. We take him for granted. He's just going to come back. This is going to be an easy signing for us.
I felt like we did.
But yeah, he got his money.
Yeah.
Like, good for him
Yeah.
for going to Raiders, getting $4 million guaranteed.
Yeah, 2 for 9. Like, I love it for him. Number one, he's earned the money. We talk about his journey, how he came here. He's obviously been on the show multiple times, and we've heard his story and how he could talk about it. We talked about just he's not even as loose in interviews because of that edge that he has to keep on about himself. And that's a part of how he's been able to get to where he's at right now. So, for him, man, it's a great situation. But that is, at the same time, one of those things where when you have had to build yourself up here, it is very easy to be looked at and taken for granted. Whereas somebody else is going to look and say, this dude has been busting his tail. This guy's been the starter. And when he wasn't the starter, he still plays starter minutes. He was productive. He was consistent. Doesn't blow calls, doesn't give you any off-field trouble, which is definitely something that they got to take into account when you're talking about the Raiders. I just think that with all of those things for other teams, it was a little bit more appealing, and ultimately that's why the Raiders paid him what they did. But salute Spillane, and I don't think they overpaid him either. That's the other part. When we talked about like what we spend on Spillane to re-sign him, we talked about 4-6 being the most, but like 4 if you get him on that lower end range right there, you felt good. And for him right there, man, essentially what he got, just a little bit over it. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think if he would have came back here, he would have always been viewed as the third guy. Whereas Holcomb, I feel like even if we do draft a guy, he's got a chance to be a long-term solution for us.
Even though he could come here and do the exact same thing Spillane did, he would still, in terms of Spillane last season, Cole could come here and give us that, and I feel like he's still going to be viewed very differently than when Spillane was giving us that, because Spillane gave you productivity and all the things that we wanted in certain veins. But because we know a lot more about him and the history with him, I think it's just different in terms of how we view him. We're always waiting for the other slipper to fall off. Like, we're always waiting for him to get beat in coverage. Even though we talked about it, the only time we could point to is Carolina Panthers. And the fact that we can single out that specific time puts, just adds to that.
Games.
Yeah. But it's like, other than that, like, we can't point to a ton of bad Spillane snaps out there in terms of this past season. But because of the track record, that's what you can't undo. So for Cole, I think in his case, that's also an added benefit for him, man.
Yeah. Yeah, I like the signing. Obviously good for Spillane getting his money. But Holcomb, if he's a better version of Spillane, what's the negatives about not only this signing, but any of these moves we're making?
The big question mark is just what's the dollar amount for Cole? That's the only thing we're waiting on. As long as the money is appropriate, I don't see a negative. Now, if we come out here and the same way we just reacted to the Juju deal, right? If you simply said Juju to the Patriots on a multi-year deal, there's nothing negative about it. You love that. This is great for Mac Jones, this, that, and that. When you see the number, now you're like, whoa, I don't all the way love that, because now what are you taking away from another part of your roster? That's how I feel about Cole. I'm like, Cole to the Steelers, I like it a lot.
So here's what I'll say about both those situations, Steelers versus Patriots. It feels like Omar Khan and just what we've been doing over this last year and a half with him have just been making a bunch of smart deals. Whereas with the Patriots, we have been seeing them overpay for receivers over these past several years.
We definitely have.
So I'm going to give Omar the benefit of the doubt and say, I think this is a good deal. I haven't even seen the numbers, but I think this is going to be a good deal.
You know, and we both differ in that way too. You're more willing to take that leap. You know me. I'm like, wait. I got patience.
Well, here's one of the reasons why I also think it's going to be a good deal is we were interested in Leighton Vander Esch.
Yes, very true.
And he got, I think it was 5.5 or 6, a 2-year deal with the Cowboys. Yeah. And I got to assume he was more of a priority than Holcomb.
You think so?
I don't know. I'd be interested at that, honestly.
So put it like this. Leighton to me is a better player, but Leighton injury history scares me off way more. I love Cole because of the consistency and the non-injury and the non-scary injuries. Like Leighton did with a neck. That's scary for that position. That's no different than when you talk about, was it Antonio Pierce back in the day with the Giants, man? It was like, bro, when you start dealing with the neck stuff, you just don't know. You can't depend on it all the way, and that's what happens with Leighton at times. With Cole, at least you're not dealing with that. But at the same time, Cole was a 5th-round pick. Leighton was, a 2nd-rounder, I think, he was 2nd round out of Boise.
It was high. It was first or second.
So to me, I just think we're talking about two just different class athletes. So,
I guess what I mean is if he's getting that, I got to assume Holcomb isn't going to be any higher than that.
I would agree there.
So and if I think we're looking at 5.5.
Yeah, I was saying if it was higher, I'm thinking just a mil higher. Not nothing like Tremaine and them dudes. I'm talking like if Leighton got 5.5, max case for Cole 7. Like, I just looked in Levante David. He just signed 1 for 8. So
where'd he go?
He went back to Tampa.
Okay.
Yeah, he stayed in
Finishing out
Tampa.
his career then.
Yep. Stayed in Tampa, 1 for 8. So I'm like, if he did 8, can't be out in that, right? It can't be.
No. Yeah, I think this would be a good deal.
That's what I'm saying. It can't be.